Now, unfortunately, with this new DOJ, well, maybe the same old DOJ, I'm starting to believe the CIA, FBI, and DOJ actually run the government and the president's a hostage, but I digress. That's my own personal theories. This DOJ is off the rails. And though Florida is going against big tech, right? Florida's going against social media and Facebook. The DOJ, the government, the Bidens of the world are going against their enemies, even if they're one of the richest people in the world, even if they're going to take us to Mars, even if they are one of the brightest minds on the planet. Folks, the DOJ is investigating Elon Musk. They're investigating SpaceX for failing to hire a non-U.S. citizen, non-permanent resident, right? Some companies have special rules. It depends how they're set up. It depends what his corporation is doing. But a company of his size, you have to imagine, has a certain quota of illegal aliens. Not illegal aliens, but non-U.S. citizens, non-permanent residents, like people that come over on work studies, people that come over with degrees from other countries under special visa circumstances. This is Biden trying to be equitable to immigrants, although natives, all right, and I'm talking, when I say native, I don't mean native born, anybody who's a legal citizen, all right? If you were an illegal and you did the right stuff and you became a legal citizen, congratulations, you are a native, in my opinion. So natives should have priority over everything. But of course, I'm a racist for saying that now, aren't I? I hope you can tell the sarcasm. I'm not actually calling myself a racist. You'll see it on the news tomorrow. Self-proclaimed racist JAMESLANE arrested after the American Reveille Podcast spewed false news, even though we're an entertainment company. DOJ investigating Elon Musk's SpaceX for failing to hire non-U.S. citizens and non-permanent residents. This is Joe Hoft, ladies and gentlemen. There is the man, Elon Musk, in a constant state of facial constipation. I'm sorry, Elon. I really love you, but you've got that genius touch about you, and that's the nicest way I'll say it. But I'll tell you, if anybody's going to get us to Mars, it's you, sir. Picture of him in front of his SpaceX capsule there. We're going to read this. Biden's Department of Justice is investigating Elon Musk's SpaceX for not hiring a non-U.S. citizen who wasn't a lawful permanent resident. Where does it say in the U.S. Constitution that foreigners have rights to jobs in the U.S.? And that's true. Where does it? It doesn't. It doesn't. All these lefties are arguing insinuations. They argue that the founding fathers could have never foresaw any of this. They could have never imagined it. So what they have to say doesn't really count. It needs to be expanded upon. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm more of a traditionalist. Populist Press is reporting the DOJ has announced an investigation into Elon Musk's SpaceX for hiring too many American-born workers and not enough foreigners. What kind of piece of crap government penalizes somebody for taking care of American workers? Wow. Just wow. The DOJ is claiming that the hiring practices of SpaceX are non-compliant with federal law based off of a complaint made to the DOJ's Immigrant and Employee Rights section. And the DOJ claims that SpaceX has stonewalled the administration's subpoena pertaining to the case. Ridiculous. The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating SpaceX over the company and whether it discriminates against non-U.S. citizens in its hiring practices, said Elon Musk's company is stonewalling, right? So we read that. It said it's stonewalling for a subpoena. What they mean by stonewalling, by the way, is they're not responding. They're saying that Biden's knocking on the door and saying, hey, Elon, turn over all this paperwork. And Elon's just ignoring him. Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand, Biden. I don't care. The charge alleges that on or about somewhere around the time of March 10th, during the charging party's interview for the position of Technology Strategy Associate, all right? Technology Strategy Associate. So remember, this is like level 1 strategy dude at SpaceX. All right. This is some person that got a bad job interview. So they were non-citizen interviewing with the company to become like logistics coordinator level 1, customer service associate level 1, technology strategy associate. You see where I'm coming from? SpaceX made inquiries about his citizenship status and failed to hire him for the position because he's not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. If for those listening, I'm making a very funny face right now. I'm making a funny face. They ultimately failed to hire him. He's alleging because he's a non-citizen. You know, it's probably going to come out that he just sucked. That they were just like, what strategy would you use? And he was like, dude, I'd like the place on fire. And they're like, yeah, we're cool with you not office spacing or building, so we don't want to hire you. DOJ attorney Lisa Sandoval wrote in a court document filed Thursday. The document was a request for a judge to order SpaceX to comply with an administrative subpoena for documents related to how the company hires. Wowzy, wowza, wowzo. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see a government attack on these companies. We're going to see a government attack on our allies. You realize that because of this split in ideology, right? The split, when Mr. Musk moved to Austin, moved to the Texas area and brought SpaceX with him, he's literally starting an entirely new big tech community in Texas, which means we're going to have 2 big tech communities, and they just can't have that. They can't have a new economy rising, because that's the type of stuff that could lead to real altercation in the future. But unfortunately, they're not doing anything to unite us with facts. They're trying to unite us with force, ladies and gentlemen. And folks, that is never going to work. So instead of appealing to the better nature of Americans, instead of talking about the things that are similar in all of us to bring us together, all Biden does is talk about our differences, his hatred for us. When he speaks of unity, he speaks of the left only, and jackboots on the throats of every single American on the right, who are then saying, I can't breathe, with the government looking down in the face and saying, you don't matter. No, folks. Unfortunately, if you're a lefty, you can put a gun to the belly of a pregnant woman, die of a heart attack and a drug overdose, and become a martyr. Can't do that on the right, folks. You are evil no matter what, according to the left. And even if you're Elon Musk, Biden wants you to know, he wants to send the message that they will come for you and they will crush you. But folks, I think you are strongly underestimating the Elon Musk we know, folks. This is a man who built a company out of tunneling. I'm sure he'll figure a way to tunnel out of this one. The DOJ is now in full force again and attacking anyone or any entity that doesn't conform with their far left ideals. What does this say? Where does it say that foreigners are guaranteed an American job in the U.S. Constitution? Also, why was this investigation leaked to the public when liberals like Hunter Biden are under investigation and the investigations remain hidden, right? Think about that. Hunter Biden, he got out of jail free. He's got a scot-free pass. Nobody cares anymore that he's a crackhead that abuses, people and children and stuff. But hey, no big deal. We still don't know who attorney John Durham has interviewed or for what reason. And these type of investigations are kept secret. You've seen that the attorney that he did get arrested only got probation. So obviously, I still don't trust John Durham. He was appointed by Bill Barr, the Rhino. And so honestly, I have no eggs in the John Durham basket whatsoever, folks. The 2-tiered system of justice continues, and that's the truth. That's a fact. Unfortunately, folks, this is where we've come. This is where we are. This is where we as a country are in the present snapshot of the moment, right? It doesn't mean it's over, but they're going to put the squeeze on us. The left is going to try to make us suffer, and they're going to make the next 2 to 4 years miserable for us. But that doesn't mean it's over. as Rocky likes to say, it ain't over till it's over. All right, folks. All right. Head to the website, www.americanreveille.com. Do me this favor. All right. Hit it up. Hit it up. If you loved this podcast, if you like what we're doing and you feel like supporting us, hit the support us tab. We take Bitcoin. You can go on PayPal. We take any amount of donation. We appreciate it greatly. Guys, it really helps. It goes a huge way while we're fighting off this censorship. We have some new articles tracing the real pandemic. It's fantastic. And also, Andrew Penn put out Joe Biden's America Last Agenda, a great one as well. I have another article coming out tonight too. Folks, sign up for the mailing list. Please. You don't want to lose touch with what we are doing across this country. And please contact us. If you have any feedback, if there's anything you'd like to ask me, if there's any way you believe you can contribute with any of your skill sets, or if you'd like to start building up an American Reveille street team in your neighborhood, please let me know. JAMESLANE at AmericanReveille.com, JAMESLANE at AmericanReveille.com, or you can hit the contact button or go to AmericanReveille.com and then hit the contact button. Folks, we're still on YouTube, so if that's where you're watching us, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, share, but they are shadow banning us. That's why you'll notice that we were getting thousands of views and now all of a sudden we're barely getting any. That's called shadow banned, all right? So we're moving a lot of our stuff to Odyssey. This is a great platform, ODYSEE.com, all right? Most of my videos are up there. Most of them are up there. And I like them. I think they're a great platform. They're easy to use. It feels like YouTube. So it could be our version of YouTube. Try it out. ODYSEE.com. I'm there as American_Reveille. Of course, the links will be in the description below. And of course, I'm on Rumble, guys. I am on Rumble as well. Head over to rumble.com. Find me American_Reveille. I'm in the comment section below, or I'm in the description section. You can find the link there. Head over here, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I need all the support I can get. We are having a very big hit to our distribution. People are not seeing what we're putting out because they killed Parler. And like I told you in the podcast episode, we don't even know if Parler is coming back. So we got to start from scratch. So I need your help, folks. Please help. All right. We can do this together. We really can. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, guys, 5-star rating, leave a review. Please. That's a big deal. Subscribe there. Follow me there. Share. If you are an audio listener, I am on most platforms. American Reveille Podcast on most platforms, folks. If you're a listener and you know people who like AM radio and different things like that, tell them about the American Reveille. Please. I need your help, and I'm depending on you to really spread